What? At 10? I don't know. Alright, and we're live. Today we're going to be playing some Rakdos Scam. This is a deck that I've been meaning to play for quite some time. Did a little bit of prep work for it before the stream. But it's a deck that I mainly enjoy watching Young Dingo stream. There are other people that play it, obviously, as it's a very popular deck at this point. Probably one of the top 5 decks in the modern format, generally speaking. It gets its name Scam from trying to scam its opponent out of wins, either by evoking a Grief or a Fury on turn 1, trying to get it back with either a Feign Death, a Malakiri Birth, or an Undying Malice on turn 1, and you either end up basically double thought seizing your opponent with a 3-2 behind, or a 4-3 with Menace behind, or you leave a 4-4 double striker for your opponent to deal with. That there are some removal spells that deal with it: Terminate, Path to Exile, Solitude, but there are also cards that don't deal with it. Bolt doesn't deal with it. An Undelirious Holy Heat doesn't deal with it. Fatal Push doesn't deal with it. So a lot of the commonly played removal spells kind of hit or miss with dealing with Fury, especially scammed on turn 1. But beyond that, you're just kind of a good stuff Rakdos midrange deck. You obviously play the Broken Monkey, you play Blood Moons. The rest of your strategy is just, Thought Seizes and Fatal Pushes, Terminates to deal with other Furies, Murktides, that kind of stuff. Dauthi Voidwalker kind of serves as both a way to potentially steal your opponent's big play, either by Thought Seizing or griefing them with a Dauthi in play, or as a way of main deck graveyard hate of a sort for against things like Living End and such. Kind of helps out in that regard. Seasoned Pyromancer, Fabled Mirror Breaker, these are kind of the ways to cycle through cards in the mid game, kind of recoup card advantage, or kind of get some momentum once you've kind of expelled all your resources. And then obviously you can still hard cast your Griefs and Furies for their full value. That can come up in mid-time games. The one thing I struggled with at first was the number of lands these decks run. Most versions run either 20 or 19 lands and 2 Malakiri Births, so we'll see how much that pops up. When I think mid-range decks, I think 23, 24 lands, but this deck is trying to kind of cheat on its resources a little bit, so we'll see how much that comes up. Sideboard in the version we're running today, pretty straightforward. 4th copy of Thoughtseize for any type of control and combo matchups. 2 copies of Torak for any type of white-based control decks you might run into, elementals, etc. Knight's Whisper and Fable the Mirror Breaker for grindier matchups, the Mirror Match, Is It Murktide, those kind of things. Jund Sagavan. 3rd and 4th copies of Blood Moon, because if you're going to be a Blood Moon deck, you need to have all 4 copies. Could easily have one of these or 2 of these be Magus, but we're rolling with regular Blood Moon. Bolt and Terminate for a little bit more interaction against creature-based decks. Engineered Explosives, because Sanctifying Vexicard also cleans up Rhinos, also cleans up Urza Saga tokens, catches a lot of things, so pretty neat card to have. And then Unlicensed Hearse, because Living End's a thing, Dredge is a thing, Murktide's a thing, the Mirror Match is a thing. So all those reasons, it's good to have some amount of graveyard hate in your sideboard, especially when you're going to play potentially a bit of a longer game overall. So, said, let's get into some matches, see how we do. And make sure I have the right version of the deck. Because like I said, I did do a little bit of prep work before the stream, getting some familiarity with the deck, so I'm not sitting here going, I don't know how to play this deck at all. But it's one of the decks in the format that I don't think I've actually played much with. Now, I've played a lot against it, with Burn, with Murktide. So it's a deck that pops up quite frequently. It's probably one of the more popular decks in the format behind Murktide in particular. It does leverage some amount of play skill, does have some amount of free wins, so it kind of checks all the boxes that you want in a modern deck. But all right. Guess I'd like to play first. Well, we can't scam our Fury, but we can double grief them, so that seems like a place where we want to be, right? Alright, Feign Death. The funny part is when I was actually playing the alright, so our opponent doesn't have a whole lot going on. When I did this, or when I played last league, I actually didn't have a whole lot going on. Or I didn't do a whole lot of scamming, I should say. I did more fair magic. So, deck is certainly capable of doing that. I kind of discounted it more being about the scam ability, but nevertheless, it is nice to kind of strip our opponent of their resources. So our opponent was definitely relying on that Amulet to live. Blood Moon would be a great draw. A red card would be a great draw. Blackleaf Cliffs, not so much. Okay. Opponent unfortunately has Dryad as one of their draws. So we still know their entire hand, right? Voidwalker. So they've played Garden, they've played Teleria West, they've played this. Still have these two cards in hand. Dryad. So obviously we're in trouble if they have top decked a Titan in the meantime, but untap land to be a good draw. Blood Moon would still be a good draw. So, okay. Opponent could... Okay, opponent has the Titan, so we're dead. Well, we're not dead, but our board's about to get wiped, and we have to deal with the Primeval Titan, which is not easy. Like I said, if we'd drawn another red card, this Undying Malice would have been clutch to allow us to close out the game before they could do these type of shenanigans, but presumably opponent just gets like, okay, they just get double Valakut and I presume Domar creatures? Okay, they're going after Dothy. That. Face in face. So do I just let Dothy die? Or, sorry. Because if we draw a red card, then we can still scam, kill Titan. So it's really kind of a... Gets to dome us for a lot here. Put us to 5. So we can do this. Kill that. Possibly trade with Titan, but I think they're just going to kill us some way, somehow here. Okay. Okay, so they just have Dryad plus another line. Yeah. Alright, they've top decked well since we disrupted them, but bring those in. Trying to Doyle, how you doing tonight? That EE is debatable, probably won't terminate. Fatal push is probably not where we want to be. I mean, sure, we can potentially kill Dryad with it, but it's a little bit sketch. EE is really only good against Amulet specifically. So I think we just submit like this. I mean, we had the scam start, but we couldn't follow it up with fast enough pressure, and they just top-decked Dryad into... I think you were talking about it last time you were on. Didn't you put it in like a Death and Taxes shell or something? Just as being like a 1-card or 2-card combo to infinitely win the game? I'd be mindful of something like Endurance in the post-board games, Boseiju to blow up Blood Moon. Could leave in Fatal Push. But Flicker Wisp, it's funny. I've not played at F&M yet. Oh boy. His hand's got the Fast Fury. Is that good enough? Guess we try it. Opponent would have to have, like... So what am I pitching? Fable? Maybe it's Spyro we're supposed to pitch here. Kind of hard to say which of these red cards we're supposed to pitch. It's definitely not Ragavan. Guess we'll pitch Spyro. Alright, we have the 3-turn clock. Okay, they have Amulet or Boreal Grazer? Grazer, okay. Alright, well, I mean, don't want to show them Blood Moon quite yet. Alright. Dryad's annoying. They're also playing Reclaimer. Alrighty then. No. It wasn't, it wasn't. The downside of it, obviously, you know, our opponent got to block it for free. But we could have been representing a second copy of Fury or, you know, Lightning Bolt or something, Fatal Push. So... opponent just took the block, which was the correct thing to do, but... presume what they're going to do here is chump block with Reclaimer and then activate to go get a second forest to be able to cast Titan. Alright. So... downside we have is we obviously don't have access to black mana, so okay. Do you have 6-land Titan? Another Dryad. Okay, well they have all the lands they could possibly want. So... One's got a chump block here. Question is, do they chump block with Reclaimer or do they chump block with Dryad? Probably should with Reclaimer here. But alright, so that turns everything back into mountains, I believe, because of the layering stuff. I'm just going to hold on to this in case we draw like Season Pyro or something. I mean, sure, they get to go get all the basic forests they want, which is fine. Most of the rest of their lands don't matter unless they draw like Boseiju. Because then them getting Valakut suddenly becomes a problem. No, the problem is they can't gang block Fury. Alright, well, I mean, second Blood Moon is not terrible here. If they go get Valakut, I'm going to drop the second Blood Moon, because that means they could have Boseiju. But I'm not sure what other land to go get in this situation. Yeah, I'm going to do this. Play second Blood Moon. And then next turn, even if they draw a Titan, they're just dead next turn. So, because Titan doesn't do anything on this board. I have not seen a Titan deck have Fire Spout in for friggin' ever, so that's a new one. Ah. They cannot. Valakut does not trigger with Blood Moon in play. Alright, so they did have one of the Boseijus, so I'm glad we played around what we did. Alright, and we got there. Und game numero 13. So, do I want these guys on the draw? Do I want engineered explosives? These definitely are out. Torok just feels too slow. Nice Whisper is a maybe. Rebirth is just whatever. Bolt doesn't feel like it does enough. Push, once again, could kill Dryad, but only in specific circumstances. So, EE, once again, only kills Amulet. So, Torok would be good in an ideal world, but on the draw especially, I think it's just too slow. Alright, so we have a fast Fury, but not much else right now. I still think we keep it, but especially with the opponent starting to mulligan. really hope we draw another red card because I'd like to keep Terminate, but I'm not going to turn down putting a clock into play on turn 1. So, there goes turn 1, Val could go. Well, we don't know that they have a weak hand. One of the things with Amulet is they could easily still combo on they could easily still have a turn 3 Titan on a Multi 5. It's less likely, but they still easily could. Okay, Grazer. Into another land. Alright. So, we are not in the best of shape if they have a Titan, but... because Grazer buys them an extra turn. We know they have at least one more land drop in hand. Do they have a Dryad? They do. They notably don't have another land drop, which could end up being relevant. Or they could be sandbagging. Hello, Blood Moon, my old friend. I've come to chat with you again. Always shouting out warnings. Closing out this game before. Alright, I'm going to hold open both Takanuma and Undying Malice. Now, our opponent could have, like, Dismember or something. Dismember. It's got the Amulet. Well, no. I don't think they were salty about the Blood Moon, but I guarantee you they're salty about this. Alright. Nice to steal win against Amulet. Blood Moon's just... when you play Amulet, you've got to know Blood Moon exists. And keep hands to play around it. So... I feel bad, but... That's part of the charm of Scam. You play as many cards as people can possibly hate and shove them all in one deck, see what happens. You might not. It is somewhat of a simplistic deck to play, dear.
Yeah, but I get to play all the cards that people don't like.
Oh, you're a commander play at heart and don't even know it. I said you're a commander player at heart and don't even know it. Commander's all about playing cards people don't like. So, hopefully everybody's having a good evening. Once again, this is kind of our first stream with Rakdos Midrange. Rakdos Scam, whatever. Oh my. I gotta give our opponents props for the screen name. Chunky Kong.
Nice.
This is obviously not a scam hand, but, you know. Alright. leads. We might get scammed. I think we're playing the mirror match. Just a guess. Because not too many decks open on Marsh Flats. So, we'll see. Nope. Basic plains. Stop! Hammertime! Pretty much. Opponent's got a Sigardian Aid. Yay. Alright, so... what do we do here? Like, obviously, if they get a hammer on this, we're not happy about it. But we have the Terminate to follow up, so do I really care about taking a one-turn pounding? We're definitely playing Ragavan here. Now, it's just a question of, am I using Grief to pitch Voidwalker to steal a hammer? I think the answer is yes. Opponent with a Blacksmith skill and an Ornery Thopter. Though that Urza Saga is going to be problematic. So... oh, Commander is absolutely awesome if you have a group to play it with. With one card in hand. I think we're going to attack with the Ragster, see what they do. If they go to equip a hammer, obviously we can just terminate the pair of it here. Okay. Do you have the hammer? So there were some people asking me about Ragavan versus Zurgo in Burn. Whether Ragavan was always strictly better than Zurgo. And one of the matchups, ironically, that Zurgo was better against was Hammertime, because you can attack into like Esper Sentinels and Stoneforge Mystics and not trade without them having some piece of equipment here. But opponent had one draw step. What did they do? Ooh. Did mulligan? Opponent did mulligan to 6. Okay. Oh, they've lost connection to the game. Well, that's unfortunate. They rejoined the game. Stop. Hammertime. Alright. If our opponent's connection issues ever let up, and maybe we could continue. Okay. Did you draw a hammer or a... You did not. Alright. I don't think we want to hold open... It's obviously a little bit of a gamble. Because if they have a hammer this turn, they can get us a little bit. But... I think we're going to have to take the shields down on this terminate at some point anyway, so... Blood Moon would potentially be a... It's like, sorry, my potato froze. Alright, so it looks like they're just going to make a dude and pass. Which will be a 2-2, then they'll get to put equipment on it. So... Well, hello there. Alright, so we're going to go on and blow up the board. Yay, yay. This leaves us a terminate to deal with their really large construct that they're going to put into play, and then, well, they're not dead next turn, they are in a lot of trouble. I've got friends in lowly places where the hammer times just don't get played. I know. Don't give up my day job. I can't sing. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, that was not that funny.
Clearly you thought it was.
It was hilarious. I love you.
My opponent with their potato internet and me trying to sing knowing I can't sing. Wonder who's in worse shape.
No comment.
I'm sorry, they definitely win the screen name contest. I can't compete with Chunky Kong. I mean, that said, if our opponent has, like, makes a construct, equips it, has land blacksmith skill, we could be in a lot of trouble. Sacrifice the Saga. Okay. We're just going to main phase the terminate. Apparently they did draw a blacksmith skill. Wow. What a skilled magician our opponent is. Not that I expect them to keep anything that they couldn't just flash in, but feels kind of dumb that you wouldn't just play that. Well, I think that's just game, isn't it? You get to go get... Yep, Shadow Spear, and then we're forced to chump block here. They still get in some amount of damage. We need to draw like a push or something. All right. Get to bring in Bolt and Engineer Explosives and Terminate. Blood Moon is like kind of middling against them. Like it's good against specifically Urza Saga and that plan, but once again, this is where having more experience with the deck is useful, because you know, like, if you're supposed to leave in Thoughtseize because of Sanctifier and Vec, you know, that kind of stuff, so. This hand does nothing. We had a Scam threat, this hand would be fine, but just doesn't do anything really. Seems alright. We have a couple pieces of interaction plus an Engineering Explosives, and if we rip an Undying effect, It's fine. Think we put back a copy of Terminate. Like, we have Terminate, Fury, and Engineering Explosives. That feels like enough, especially since spot removal is not always 100% against them because of something like Blacksmith Skill, or even something like potentially Spell Pierce. Discard as 8-on-1 is always hard to play around. Put back a Terminate, automatically draw a Terminate. Esper Sentinel. Probably should have tried to terminate that on instead. Just because we're going to kind of get clunked up on mana here. Sure, they get to draw a card, which is ultimately annoying, but yes, no, maybe. What's your game plan? Give her runes? Sure. Pithing Needle for what? Engineering Explosives? Indeed. Alright, so we just clear out their board. Obviously, it would be much more awesome if we had an Undying effect, but what's up, Nightmare Mid? How you doing? Did they not make a 3 mana? Pure Steel Paladin. Okay. Land, please. Don't really want to pitch Terminate, but I think we really need to get some stuff going here. Obviously EE is kind of dead to us. Malice is not the best card to draw right now. So one of the downsides of Scam, right, is just the fact of sometimes you just draw these dead cards in situations like this. Later on in their land. Just gonna hold that for Fable and such here. Yep. This is actually an interesting situation because I kind of actually want my Seasoned Pyro to die here. Though I admit I should have Undying Malice before damage, so that is definitely a punt. Alright, game 3 is going to be a close affair. Still don't absolutely love Blood Moon, but it does have its purposes. This hand just doesn't do anything. Okay. Put back one of our Blood Moons, keep this hand, I guess. We've got Push and Terminate. We really need to draw a fetch land or something for this Blood Moon to be really relevant. Or our opponent to play Urza's Saga, something like that. Yep, Sentinel, annoying as always. So I think because of Sanctifier we actually have to grief here. Not thrilled about it. Okay, so your hand is double hammer, 2 lands, nothing else. Got it. Their opponent draw that they kept open. So their hand is 2 hammers, 1 unknown. Alright. One has 4 cards, 2 of which are hammers. We've got another Esper Sentinel. Sigarda's Aid. Cool. Back in 1 second. Alright, we're back for third match here. It's been interesting so far. This league, obviously, we played against Amulet and Hammertime. Last league I did off camera was against Living End, Death Shadow, Jun Saga Van, last loss to I don't remember. So, hope everyone's doing well tonight. Once again, we're doing our kind of tour of Modern every other week with bootcamp slash 101 class of things. This hand just doesn't do anything. Nazis into Seasoned Pyro just doesn't seem like it's good enough. I mean, well, I guess we keep it. Blue-White X Control. Or, yep, looks like Blue-White X Control. Okay, never mind. We're up against Hammertime for the second match in a row. Okay. I'd say life's fun, but... go like Urza's Saga... Portable Hull. Never mind. We are not up against Urza's. Come on, deck. Alright. So, get a Swamp. Play Voidwalker here. Next turn, go Blood Moon. Hope they do something useless with their mana this turn and can't make a Construct or don't hold up, what's his name? The 3-mana Affinity for artifacts, counterspell, or you can, I should say, you can tap artifacts. But I think we just have to jam Blood Moon regardless. So, I have not played against an Urza's deck or Urza Planeswalker deck or Urza. Do they have it? Metallic Rebuke is the card I was thinking of. Looks like the answer is yes. Or maybe we're getting lucky. Yep, Metallic Rebuke, sure. Obviously, I would have loved to have dropped Blood Moon there, but it's just too dangerous on the back of... Alright. Opponent's got some weird stuff going on in their deck. So now they have this combo where they can look at the top card of their deck and exile it every turn. Seems kind of obnoxious. So they literally get to set up the perfect draw every turn. Alright, let's see what you got. Or if we decide if we're... Okay, so they have like 2 lands. Again, Blood Moon's not particularly relevant at this point. They have like 3 sources of colored mana. So. But now they literally get to Demonic Tutor every turn. So, I don't know how we're beating that. They've got to be looking for Urza at this point, right? Well, whatever card they drew, they really, really like it. So my guess is Urza. Thassa's Oracle. Well, we at least get to see their entire deck. This is certainly an interesting take on Blue-White Affinity. Be interesting to see if they have any Urzas in the list or anything. So. Okay, they do have Urza. So they just have this kind of backdoor combo nonsense. Which, good for them, it won them this game. Not that they not without the ability to Demonic Tutor every turn anyway, that you wouldn't have won this game, but those of you who don't know how we've already lost this game, Thassa's Oracle's abilities on the stack. They're going to mill or exile their entire deck, and then Thassa's Oracle is going to win the game. So, the only reason I'm continuing to play the game is to see what all is in their deck. Which, none of it particularly surprises me so far, other than Pure Sight Miro and Thassa's Oracle. Alright, Pete Fitty for the win. Alright, Pure Sight Miro. Okay, Urza. Lord High Artificer. Iron. Affinity. So they have Chalice, Hallowed Moonlight, Lavinia, Meddling Mage. Could have Sanctifier. We definitely want these guys. Blood Moon's on the play. Thoughtseize can probably come out. Taurox maybe against a mostly white base deck. Terminate probably comes in. Is this like a Void Walker out matchup? Let's take a look at how the deck sets up currently. Probably one or two Ragsters even on the play out. And then we got Dothy, question mark. Portable pull, portable hole, dispatch, thoughtcast. Get rid of dispatch. Thoughtcast, leave them with a bunch of basically useless cards. Yep, I definitely want to dash you. Which makes their portable holes relatively useless. How would you attack with that when you know I have a Ragavan in hand? Actually found a relevant artifact. Interesting. Alright. Probably want this Bolden somewhere. Down another Ragavan. It's a tiny bit awkward. Do I keep this hand? I guess we'll try it. Okay. Sure. Okay. So it's a little counterintuitive here, but we actually have to bolt this Esper Sentinel here. So the reason we're bolting this is our opponent has Metallic Rebuke represented here, and we have to be able to resolve this Blood Moon. Plus we have to resolve Fury. So we're forcing our opponent to decide whether they want to use their Metallic Rebuke in hand or not. Whether they use it or not is irrelevant to me here. Start by casting Blood Moon. I can draw all the cards they want. Now we have Seasoned Pyro to reload. Obviously we can't cast any black spells currently, but Paradise Mantle is kind of annoying. What's up, Jan? How you doing? Yeah, we're kind of scamming people, but I think our opponent's more skewered than we are at this point, so... And now we can potentially cast black spells, so... Plus we increased our clock, which is more important. Alright, pitch. Yes, I'd like to pitch Voidwalker, Fatal Push. Opponent goes to 3, and... Opponent has conceded the match. What's up, Jan? How you doing? Been a minute. It has been a minute. I don't think it's been explored as much. I think the big draw to Scam in general has been the explosive possibility of Fury over something like Solitude. I think most of the Scam variants that have been done with like black-white have generally been like a reanimation style shell. So I'm sure it's viable, it's just probably a little bit worse than the Rakdos variant. Because the Rakdos variant, you also have that like huge potential just to have a turn 2 8 or 8 power creature, which is the primary draw to the deck being red black. Like I uploaded a oh, I completely understand. You're in Europe, aren't you? Well, Nightmare Mib, I believe them never drawing a colored source was GG. Because if they ever draw a plains or a plains or a island, which they didn't show us many basics game 1 when they like showed us their entire deck. Well, this looks like a pretty good hand. We be scamming. Grief pitching, Dothy, Undying Malice, Blood Moon to follow up. Fable is a backup plan. Seems pretty good. So in general, I don't like Bluetron, but oh my. So it looks like we're up against a fellow scammer. So I think we have to take... I think it's Terminate Season Pyro. Let them Blood Moon us if they want. Or take our Blood Moon and Fable if they want. So... But my goal over the course of like most of this year is to like do most of the decks in Modern and at least do some gameplay with them, so. Well, the funny part is I played a league with it the other night, which eventually will get uploaded. And while it's not good, I have to admire the craftsmanship of Shock Troopers decks just because they're so... they felt like they had game against everything, including Burn. And Burn is like one of the matchups where I'm like, yeah, I don't want to... Opponent with Woodwalker? Sure. I should have fetched before they did anything here. Alright, well, any other land we have is guaranteed to cast this Fury. So, hopefully our opponent doesn't rip a third Thoughtseize, or they can Fury us, which would be bad. Or Grief, I suppose, would also be annoying here. And... I agree, it can. I'm not saying that your thought process on it is wrong, Jan. I'm just saying that the explosiveness of this deck is not only being able to double and triple Thoughtseize like we just did there, it's also putting an 8-power creature into play on turn 1 that's very difficult to kill. So, probably want the Hearses. We definitely want Terminate. Definitely want Fable. Maybe the Hearses. Go down the Blood Moons and the Thoughtseizes. And then I guess we could potentially bring in Bolt to... Actually, I don't know if the Hearse is in for this matchup. Maybe it's just bringing these 3. And go down maybe a Ragster on the draw. Try it like that. Well, the power level of MH2 is kind of insane. But if you think about it, the only cards that people have talked about being banned is really Ragavan and then some of the annoyance with the elementals. But if you look at MH1, you had Hogak and all these other... So... that just doesn't seem like a good idea, Jan. I think the scamming is best in the 3 main colors. The Mardu colors, not really green or blue. I think Subtlety's best in like a tempo deck like Merfolk or Murktide or the Postboard and Living End. So I have no idea in a postboard game like how aggressively I'm supposed to mulligan to like a scam hand versus just like a normal attrition hand for a mid-range matchup. So I'm going to keep this because it's a solid attrition hand. 2, 3, 4 potentially. And we can play around Blood Moon even if our opponent decided to keep it in. If they Thoughtseize us, it's whatever. But if we get scammed, it's all about resources. Okay. So the general prevailing wisdom in mid-range matchups is don't leave in Thoughtseize. At least that's my understanding. Dingo, who is the main streamer of content for Rakdos, always does not like leaving in Thoughtseize. A mid-range player like okay, so they brought in her, sure. Like, Curse is the one card I'm legitimately not sure if you're supposed to bring it in the mirror or not. Like, sure, they get to eat our Spyros, don't get to gain advantage or whatever. Sure. I mean, it's certainly a possibility. Some of these lists do run Croxa as a one-of, and it does keep a later game Undying effect from being relevant. So there is that. I mean, I'm not saying there isn't applications for it. Plus, you know, it is a card that could certainly... We're just pitching 2 lands here. Feels like we're just pitching 2 lands. All right, Torok. Grief into Torok might be, or Torok into Grief might be pretty good. No, I really don't. I always think casual Magic players have always been the bigger portion of the Magic community. I just think that Commander finally gave them a the platform where what they do is relevant, if that makes sense. So now it comes down to, do I want to play Grief first, or do I want to kick Cantor or Turok? I think we play... What? Yeah. Hopefully we catch like a Fury or something in their hand. Alright. Guess we take Spyro here. Because the problem for them is, sure, they can Thoughtseize us and take one of 2 good cards. But either way, we're going to have a good play next turn, so... Yep, they got to take Torok. Leaves them with Bolt. Well, Hearse is definitely scary. Don't get me wrong there, but... Ragavan. Use Ragavan to crew Hearse here. They indeed do. I think we chump block. Play it as a land, no reason not to. And right on cue, my upstairs neighbor starts either moving around furniture or running a vacuum. Not sure what it is about Sunday evenings and her and vacuum cleaners, but Shieldred. Huh. Okay, so this is currently 188. I think we gotta take the 8/8 here, terminate the Shieldred. I think we have more things that kill Hearse than we do Shieldred. Really have got to stop drawing these rebirth effects. I believe it comes back as... I believe it comes back as Fable. I think we're about to find out. Well, Nightmare, we kind of have to hope to top deck something, so I'm not going to lie there. But Shieldred also would run away with the game too, so... Like, I think Fury would be our best draw here. But I do think we have to keep this Terminate. Opponent unfortunately has a Bolt in exile. So... Oh, we're just going to die to Spyro tokens here. Alright. Alright, so we are definitely bringing in the hearses ourselves. Go with that, go with that, go with that. Do we just get rid of some of the Undying effects, maybe? Oh, for crying out loud. Alright, this ends alright. Not super exciting, but... hopefully we don't get, like, double scammed on turn 1. Or if they scam us, it's like... fury instead of grief. Alright, so they had turn 1 monkeys. So this is going to like play into our plan perfectly. Or at least our opening plan perfectly. However, card I really didn't want to see was a second unlicensed hearse, but dashing monkey. It's an Undying Evil, which is kind of whatever. Not really a card we wanted to draw. It would have been a decent pitch to Spyro here. Hopefully they don't have like Thoughtseize or something. Alright, so we're going to pitch second hearse. I play some casual commander, yes. Mostly low to mid-tier power decks. I don't usually play a casual commander. One also has a hearse. I guess the simplest question to ask is, what type of decks do you normally enjoy? Well, that's a heck of a hand. Terminate, Ragavan, Grief. I think we clearly take Fury here. Left them with quite the hand. Surprised they didn't activate Unlicensed Hearse there, but Windwalker, sure. terminate Dothy or terminate Grief and hope to. You're going to terminate Spyro. That's interesting. You like Stasis and Mill. Wow. So they're trading monkeys. I'm fine with that. What was the last card in their hand? They played the Terminate, right? Opponent's actually going to fight over the cards that were... Okay, that's fine. Last card was a Grief. Hopefully they don't find a Fury. Shieldred is a problem. Yeah, Grand Arbiter would certainly be a Stacks commander. As far as Mill, the Grixis Demon from the... what's that one set? One set with the Triomes. My buddy has a commander that has a mill set with that. Alright, could we draw something relevant maybe? Yeah, from Ikoria. I don't know what's all in it because I unfortunately had to miss the last time we played Commander for a good reason, but really do think our opponent could be attacking with their Shieldred, but I guess as things stand, they just kind of win the game right now. No reason to block this. I think we pretty much have to draw Terminate this turn cycle or we're just dead. Maybe even Fury. Void Walker, that's probably lethal. So what my opponent probably should have done is they probably should have made a copy of Dothy and swung. So we're just dead next turn regardless. So we're just going to block here. Do I chump here? I think I have to block and chump. Oh, and they can also make an instant speed Season Pyro, so I'm 99% sure we're dead here. Because they get to make a copy, Season Pyro, kind of go from town there. Alright, we can't deal with two shadow creatures, so no wrong moves for our opponent, so to speak. I mean, we had as many answers to the card in our deck as we could, but sometimes you just lose. Alright, one last. I will have to honestly look in a second because I'm not familiar with Umbrus. This hand would be great if we had an Undying effect, but as not, it's kind of middling. This hand has an Undying effect, so honestly, this hand could be basically the nuts because we can grief check for whatever opponent's got. And then come and potentially thought seize them again, or just thought cast. Alright, well, let's take Spraying Leaf Drum. Cast this. Alright. Okay. Alright, so red card, removal spell, any of those would be nice. One's got a thought cast and one unknown. Third thought cast. Okay, red card still might win the game. Guess it doesn't quite win the game, but kill this guy, kill this guy. Actually, no. What we want to do... cancel... one here... Sure, opponent gains life. That's not particularly relevant here. We had no way to kill all of their untapped creatures, so... Okay, Midnight, sure. Cranial plating, sure. Equip, doesn't matter because Fury has first strike, so opponent did unlock the achievement of biggest creature this game. Alright. So, taking a look at Umbrus. A card you could consider if you want to do a Voltron style deck, and it's an old one. Rafik. Rafik of the Many is a card I would look into, possibly. We want this. Opponent's on mono blue, so I'm not sure how deep I want to go down the Blood Moon rabbit hole. Obviously, they might have Urza Saga, but... Alright, get that out of there. We get a Ragster out. I just want to go full control here. Like all the Ragavans out, bolt in. Second copy, or third copy of Blood Moon. But Rafika the Many is a card that I've seen used excellently in Voltron style decks. This hand's really awkward. No red card to pitch to Fury. Sure, we can grief, but we can't scam. So I think this hand's a mulligan. I'm sure there are better commanders if you wanted to build cats. If you wanted to go mono white Voltron, then the new 2-mana one from putting back one of these effects. The new 2-mana cat from whatchamacallit might be a good one. Fable. Kemba. The new Kemba allows you to equip for effectively for free every time a cat comes into play. Okay, so Feign Death. Like, Rafik is more designed to be an exalted deck. So, we could play out a bunch of stuff here. Okay, Magnificent Gardens. It's a terrifying card in their deck. I have Gal Blast. I should have main phased it probably. Catch Champion. Yeah, that one's annoying. Not gonna lie, that one's annoying. Shadow Spear? Yeah, that one's terrifying. Thought Monitor. Yep. Affinity deck doing affinity deck things. Oh, one card in hand. So we have Gingerroot, Shadow Spear, Thought Cast. Dying Malice. If our opponent can move that, then we're in some trouble, but I don't know how the rules work with equipment that's been cast by a different player. Cranial plating? So this is going to be lethal. Looks like it. Opponent with a heck of a top deck. This hand is so close yet so far away. Would need a second black card. I think we have to mulligan this hand. Just doesn't do enough. This hand's not the most exciting, but at least has Blood Moon at least. Hopefully they don't name Bloodstained Mire. I don't even know what they name. Engineered Explosives. Seems like the card you name in the dark, although they could have gotten this with the fetch land potentially. Okay, they chose. You did not understand how magic works, friend. Yes.
Got really quiet.
Good grief. Alright, so they have a cranial plating in the hand, which is terrifying. Affinity always... The newer breed of Affinity lists has always continued to impress me, at least until I played against them with a bunch of Furies. Then I understand why they're not tier 1. Like, when I play them against them with, like, Burn or Murktide, I'm like, how does anybody beat this pile? And then you play a Fury against them, and you're like, oh, that's how you beat them. It's Scam. I mean, I would need to play the deck a lot more to know the nuances of the deck completely. Like, what's the right sideboard configuration? What's the right land? Rebirth, or these Undying effect, that kind of stuff. So, as far as the entire package of Grief plus Fury plus Rebirth effect, we saw how powerful that is. Fury off the top, clutch a number of games. This kind of grindy package was nice. Blood Moon, obviously amazing. Terminate, sometimes our only out. Ragavan's Ragavan. And then the rest of the deck, all solid. I think we used everything in the sideboard except maybe the Knight's Whisper, but I think that even came in the mirror match. So we beat 2 artifact decks, Affinity lists if you want to call them that. We also beat Amulet. We lost to the mirror match and Hammertime. From what I understand, Hammer is a particularly bad matchup anyway because of Sanctifier and Beck being a 4-of in their lists, usually in the sideboard. Mirror matches are always rough when you've never played the deck a lot, so... But that said, I want to thank everybody for hanging out tonight. It's been a blast. A little bit of a longer stream, but when you sign up to play these long, grindy mid-range decks, sometimes that happens. So if you like this kind of modern content, we do deck guides, deck playthroughs. I'm working right now on trying to kind of do a beginner's guide to all the at least top decks in the format, and then starting to work our way down. If you like that kind of content, please consider subscribing to the channel. And I hope to see you for next week's stream, where we will be doing Pioneer on both the Twitch channel and Pioneer Nexus MTG. I alternate the simulcasts, 1 week doing Modern, 1 week doing Pioneer. So hopefully you'll join us for that. If you want to join us every week, don't forget to check us out on Twitch. Same thing as the YouTube channel, MTG_Nexus. And hope to see you next week. Thanks everybody for hanging out. O'Doyle, Nightmare, Jan Shavik, etc. And I hope you all have a great night.